Hello, welcome to my first video. I'm going to be reviewing live trades, and I will be setting up a website, and you may find the link below this video. I will have a trading course and a signal service. So this is a current trade I am in. It is currently the 30th of November 2016, and I am long on the British pound, Swiss franc. I trade simple price action, and I shoot for high risk reward trades. I've been trading for over 5 years. I've read many books on psychology of trading, which, if you haven't realized by now, is extremely important to be able to hold your nerve and stick to a strategy. It's easier said than done. Anyway, I'm just going to jump straight into this trade, and over the course of the videos that I'm going to upload to my YouTube channel, I'll discuss various aspects of my trading. So for this current trade, British pound, Swiss franc, I have two boxes here, and what they essentially show is this line here, where the green meets the red. This is where I entered my trade, and the red area is my risk. So I had my initial stop down at this level, and my first target was up where this first green box ends. And if I highlight over that, you can see in the middle between the green and the red box there is a risk reward ratio of 1.96. so my first target was essentially a risk reward of 2. So I sold half my position when the trade hit that target. I've then moved my stop to break even, and now I'm shooting for my main target 2, which is nearly at 10 to 1. If you can see, the risk reward ratio is 9.62. So you can see from this trade that there was a major pullback, which is expected in the market. The market moves in waves, rarely moves straight up, and if it does move straight up, there's a very good chance you're going to have a hard pullback. And this is where a lot of traders struggle to hold their nerve and believe in the trade, and they will exit the trade prematurely. So if I had have seen this pullback here and maybe even moved my stop underneath this swing, I would have got stopped out here. And if I definitely had many years ago, if I had been in this trade, I would definitely have closed it by the time it got down here, and I would have missed this move back up in my original direction. So currently, let me just drag this up here and follow the risk reward to where the price is. Currently we're at 3.25 risk reward. So I like to keep that down. I like to monitor my trades. So that was 1.96. So currently we're up at 3 to 1 on the second half of the trade, as I sold my first half at this target, and my second target is up here. To explain why it's up here, I'll just move to the day chart, and you can see this. If I zoom in, you can see my green target up here. There's an overall downtrending channel on the daily based off here, and I suspect that as price moves sideways, we may hit this trend line roughly around this area. It also ties in with the horizontal resistance we have here. So if I was to draw a horizontal line, say about here, so we have a downward trend line here, and it crosses over with horizontal resistance here. And also, if we go back to the one, so this is the daily chart, if we go back to the 1 hour chart, you can see I have my target at just under 1.30, which is a round number, which also acts as a resistance. So there are the reasons for my targets. Sorry, and just to discuss my initial targets as well, this was at the most recent horizontal resistance. So if I draw another trend line here, just for the purpose of that, you can see that my first target was just underneath this horizontal resistance, or in that general area. So they're the reasons for my targets, and we'll see how the trade plays out. So I'll stop the video here and I'll let this trade run. My stop is currently break even, as I've said, and it's either going to hit my target or it's going to take me up break even. Now I will monitor the trade, and if I get a big swing up and then a swing down, and as long as it then breaks, so for example, let me just show you what I mean. How should we do this? Okay, currently we're like this. If this trade comes up here and then pulls back, which we expect, hopefully it will pull back into this area. Now this is like a perfect, in an ideal world this would happen. It could pull back further, and you just got to endure that pain. If you don't take these trades, if you don't shoot for these high risk rewards, now depending on your strategy, so for me this is what works. Other people shoot for 1-to-1, but they have a higher success ratio. But for me, my account has only grown and grows quite considerably when I have these big home runs, and then I take these very small losses, and then I get these colossal runs, and one of these trades wipes out several losses. So as this trade progresses, say we have price action move up here, pulls back and then breaks this high, I will then move my stop underneath here, and I will, as long as it's very clear that this is a swing low and it breaks higher, I'll move the stop. If it's not very clear, for example, this here, this little pullback here, and now it looks like a little bowl shape, this isn't strong enough for me to move my stop up here, so I'm going to let that play out. If it comes back and hits me out at break even, well then that's what's going to happen, and I just move on. So I have this almost on a set and forget mentality, but I will just monitor it, but I'm not going to mess around with my stop until there's a valid reason for me to move it. And I'll check back in as the trade progresses. Just an update on the British pound Swiss franc along. You can see price action has done what we expected it to do so far. So it traded in this range throughout the night, and then we had this nice break up in our direction, and because this happened so fast, I'm fully aware that we may have just a strong pullback, and this is where most traders begin to feel pain as the trade starts to pull back on them. But you have got to stick it out and believe in your trade. So I currently have my stop at the top of my first take profit area here, sitting in between these moving averages. The green moving average is just a 50 moving average, simple moving average, and this is 100. So my stop is round about here, tucked underneath these points where the market came down, hit, took off, and we've come back down into this area again. So if this market moves back down into this area, I'll get out of the trade for a total of a 1-to-2 risk reward, which is still a good trade, but I'm hoping price will do what I expected it to do. I think previously I drew a series of lines, and if it breaks up here, I hope for it to pull back and then continue on its way. If it doesn't, I'll move on to the next trade. So I'll check back in as the trade progresses. Very brief update on our trade. We had our pullback that we saw in the last update, and now price action has moved in our direction again. My stop is going to stay in the same position because we only have this structure swing low. There's no obvious one to move it up to. If one occurs in this area, then I'll move my stop up. But until that occurs, if it occurs, my stop stays where it is, and hopefully we hit our target next week. Thank you. Brief update on this trade. This morning, Monday, we had a pin bar form here, and price action has pushed further in our direction, so I have now moved my stop up underneath this pin bar. So currently our trade is at 4.22 risk reward. So I will be back with further updates. Final update on the British pound Swiss franc long. Unfortunately, I was traveling all last week, so I didn't get to do live updates. But this is how the trade finished. Unfortunately, the trade was closed before we reached our second target. If you look at it here, we had our swing and a newer high, and then we had a swing again. So underneath this swing, I had moved my stop up. I have highlighted here with a pink line, and price came down and crashed through this. Now again, this could continue on up and hit our target, but I chose to move my stop underneath this swing. So just to discuss the final profit on this trade, as accounts, everybody has different size starting equity. So people, if somebody starts with a €500 account or dollar account, some people might start with a 50,000 or $100,000 or euro account. So everybody's different. So people focus too much on such and such a person is making $5,000 per trade on YouTube. Look at their videos. Yeah, that's perfect if their account equity allows for that to happen. Proper trade management, you want to be risking, I'd say, a maximum of 2% of your equity per trade. I risk 1% of my equity. So saying that, if somebody has a $500 account, 1% of that is 5. So you should only be risking $5 per trade. If you have a $5,000 account, you should be risking 50. So it is all relative. So we will just look at the percentages here. You can see on this trade, on the first part of the trade, this red box, I was risking 1%, and I sold the trade at a risk reward of 2 to 1. So when I sold half of the trade there at 2 to 1, I banked 1%. And then on the second half of the trade, because I had sold half of my trade, you can look at this risk as a 0.5%. So everything on this second half of the trade, the risk reward is essentially halved because I've sold half the position. So if we pull it down to where I got out of the trade, it's 4.68. Okay, so I'll just bring up a calculator, and it's 4.68 divided by 2, half. So we had a 2.34% gain on the second half of this trade, plus our 1% from the first half. So we had a total gain of 3.3%. So just to look at what that would mean for maybe 3 different types of accounts. We'll look at a $500 account, a $5,000 account, and a $50,000 account. If you had a $500 account, 1% is 5. And we've made 3.3 on this. So we take our initial risk of 5, which is 1% of our account, our $500 account, and we multiply it by 3.3. And on this trade, you would have made $16.50, which in relative terms is a very good trade. In monetary value, $16.50 would seem quite low, but $16.50 over 500 multiplied by 100 is 3.3% gain on one trade. So we will look at our $5,000 account. So we're risking 50 and we've made 3.3. So you can see where this is going. We've made 165. So then you're starting to make inroads on the monetary, the amount of money you're making per trade. And some people will find that more impressive, or it stands out more on, say, a YouTube channel, because you're seeing a value of 165. And then for a $50 account, it's obviously going to be 1,650. I'll just do the calculation anyway. So we're on a $50,000 account, excuse me, we're risking $500 per trade, and you're multiplying that by 3.3, and you're getting $1,650. Okay, so this is the first trade I've uploaded. I have another 2 trades that are currently live, and I will work to get those videos complete. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please visit my website, simplepriceactiontrading.com. I supply trade alerts, and I am working on a trading course. Again, thank you for watching.